Hey everyone, this is Steve 87th here. I started a project a while ago when one of our fellow model railroaders, Nancy, wanted to build a new layout. She wants to build a new HO layout in her apartment. Now, I've visited Nancy before, and Nancy has, well, Nancy's wheelchair bound, right? So that makes it a little bit different on how she can get to things and how she can access things. So what I'm going to go through is show you what I did to see if this can help her be able to make, detail out, do scenics and stuff like that on her model railroad. Now, there's been a couple of other people who've offered to help and all that kind of stuff, and that's going to go forward, but this is a couple of months of work that I put together to be able to have Nancy access and be able to work on basically a loop system, because she likes to run trains, but she also wants to do the scenery, and it's hard for her to get to parts of the scenery on the models that we make. So this series of videos is going to go through how I built a system that I believe she can work with and make her model railroad dreams come true. So follow along these next few videos and see how I did this and what my thoughts were and some of my trials and tributes were. I started in the summer, and she wants this as a Christmas present, so I did have a deadline that was set on me by Christmas, and I'm ready to go with it. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed this series, and I hope it helps you guys with some other items maybe that you're working on, or some other people that you know in your life. Okay, thanks for watching. Hey Model Railroaders, it's Steve 87th here, embarking on yet another little project that's taken me away from doing my modeling and all. This is actually a modeling project. Someone has kind of asked me to help her out. So what this build is going to be, I'm going to be building bench work that is accessible for someone in a wheelchair. So I'm actually building this for Nancy with the Spirit of Colorado. I live not too far from her, about 30-40 miles or so. She is bound in a wheelchair, so it makes it difficult for her to get some of the larger size type things that we need to do. So what I proposed to do was to make up some modules, put the modules on wheels, and make them interlocking, and also at a height that she can work with. So she only has so much reach, right? So the modules are going to be 2x4, and I have a bunch of pre-cut out pieces. Let me show you what my layout looks like, how we're going to do it. So we're going to be able to interlock these, lock them together, and then she'll be able to easily take them apart, roll them around so that she can do all of the scenery work that she wants to do. She's using Kato Unitrack, which is going to make it easier, so when we break the connections apart, it'll be easier for her to work on the track plan and all. So there's little things we have to do with the track, but we're not set up for that yet. What I'm going to show you what I'm doing is how I'm going to be building the 2x4 module sections. I'm also going to build a couple of 1x4 module sections, and I think I'm also going to make a couple of triangles just to make it nice and easy. Okay, so hold on, let me show you what we're doing. All right, so let me show you around the work area. we've got our chop saw over there, and you can see I have a bunch of 2x2s laying up there. The 2x2s are going to be the legs. We're going to talk about those probably later on in a video. And we may release, I'm not sure if I'm releasing this out as a series or not. Here we have our assembly table, which is kind of nice. It's a thing that I picked up a while ago that's foldable, and you guys can probably tell that I'm outside on my driveway. And it also has some speed clamps, which makes it easy. The wood that's sitting over there is ready for testing. Okay, so then we come over here to our lumber pile. So let me just walk over there and show you what we've got. So basically, these are all pre-cut. I cut these a while ago for my modules, but I'm just going to use them on Nancy's. So I've got two 2-foot modules, or two 2-foot 1x4s, and two 4-foot 1x4s, and those will go together. And as you guys can see, they're cut at 45s. Now, had I known a little bit better, and had Jerry told us beforehand that the butt splice was better than the 45, I would have went with the butt splice. However, one of the things that this is going to do, there's going to be some extra support in each one of these corners, because we're going to pocket the legs into the corners so that they're movable, okay? Which is what the legs are for. So we still have another stack down on the ground. You guys can see there. Oops, sorry about that. You guys can see here that I've got a stack on the ground. Okay, that still has a few more in it. So that right there only represents 3, so I've got a couple more that I got to do. And then over on the other side of the driveway, let me see if I can get this to pan over and up. Yes, those are my dead bushes. Okay, over there, we have got some of the other wonderful products that we're going to be using. So I've got a 1x3, 1x2s, which we're going to use as bracing and as part of the box that we're going to use. And we've also got 1 inch by 2 foot by 8 foot pink board, basically. It's the Owens Corning fiber board at 1 inch. I got the 1 inch because it was a lot cheaper, and at my Home Depot, the 2 inches were all beat up. Every one of them was beat up. So that's kind of what we're going to be working with today. And so the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and start with the test shot. Okay, so what I've got here, I'm using 1 1/4 inch finish nails. 1 1/2s I didn't quite find. I couldn't find as many of those. But basically these are really just going to be to tack this together while the glue's drying. Now, the important thing, I got Wood Glue Max, but this is the waterproof and stainable, right? The reason it needs to be waterproof is Nancy is going to come up and she's going to put different items and probably do, landscaping and stuff like that on all this. So we want to make sure that this bond is nice and tight. I got the Elmer's because I'm used to Elmer's. I also have the Gorilla Glue, which is what we're going to use for the top. Now, I'm not going with a flat top. That's got a solid finish on it. In other words, I'm not doing a hardwood and I'm not doing a plywood base. The reason for that is because she also has some problems using electric drills and all that kind of stuff. So if we put hardwood or if we put a board underneath it, then she wouldn't be able to drill through. With just the fiber, she'll be able to drill through. But what we're going to do is we're going to shore up the 1x4s. We're going to go across it with some 1x2s. That's going to allow her some room underneath to run all of her wiring, and it'll also give the structural support that you need. And the 1 inch fiber board, or the 1 inch board, is going to be fine because it's nice and strong. It's got a good weight balance to it and all that. I'm probably not going to get to that today, even though I'm outside. But I have it outside because in order for me to transport the 4x8 sheets, I had to break them in half, so they're all off-gassing now. And let me tell you, that stuff does stink, so you want to make sure that it's off-gas. So the first thing that I want to do with my trusty little air gun here, I want to take some test shots into some 1x4s that I'm not using yet before we start doing the stack-ups. I'm doing the test shots to make sure that I have the right depth because I'll need to adjust the depth as possible. Plus, I haven't used the air gun in such a long time that I got to make sure I can do it right. Okay, so this is a trigger-activated one. And that resulted in nothing. Okay, so sometimes you got to get the thing primed too. And right now it's showing that it's too much. And that's not enough. Okay, so we're going to stop right here. I don't know why this isn't shooting, but you never want to play with these things when there's air on it, because then you could go ahead and shoot yourself. So we're going to stop the video. I'm going to go do some troubleshooting. Okay, so after a little troubleshooting, I found out what I did wrong. I was not hanging the nails in the track, so therefore the nails weren't coming out, okay? I also increased the pressure a little bit to make sure that we got it. So I did do a test shot beforehand, and I don't know if you guys can see this. Let's see if I can zoom in. I'm kind of working alone here, so it makes it kind of tough. So we'll do over here. Oh yeah, you can see that. So there's the test nail. Sorry, trying to get it right. Okay, it's being a little picky, persnickety, since it's on the... Okay, so we're gonna try to zoom in just a little bit more. Okay, so here is the nail as it sits right now. And you can see, if I take this, it gets stuck. So it's not putting the nail deep enough yet. So I do have a little adjustment, which is right underneath the trigger, that tells me how to put it in and take it out. So we're going to put it down some more. I think I have to turn the pressure off to do that. Yep, because it's not allowing me to do it. So let me check the pressure off again, fortunately. So part of it might be my technique. So let's go ahead and press. And that time it actually varied, which is exactly what I want it to do. So you see here, it's underneath there. So the first time I don't think I had enough pressure on it. So part of this is just getting used to what you need to do. Okay, so that's like 4 of them in there. That is my test shot for right now. So that looks like it went pretty well. I got those where I want them to be. Okay, now we're going to take the boards apart. And the reason being is I want to make sure that I have enough depth. And you can see here, this is pretty strong. So this is about how much depth I'm going to get, which looks like it'll probably be enough for the glue to set up. So now that I know I've got that set up right, I've got a good pressure, and I've got some good depth, I can go ahead and start gluing. All right, so I did cut these a while ago. And like I said, I did cut them at 45 degrees. So I've got a couple of ways that I can do this. I can lay it flat and bring the 2x4 across this way, square it up and nail it in on the sides. Unfortunately, what I don't have is square clamps. So my other possibility is to go ahead, put it sideways, clamp it up this way, and then I'll be able to shoot that way. Okay, either way, I don't have a long enough clamp to clamp these together. Okay, but the first thing that I do want to do to make sure that I've got it right is I want to take my measurement to make sure that I have a 4-foot piece and a 2-foot piece. And if I don't, I need to go ahead and cut them, okay? So that is 4 foot, which is cool. So that's one of my 4-foot pieces. Now, when I did these, I did set up a gate. It's just that it's been a while. So we just want to double check and make sure, and that's a 2-foot. Now, the thing about this is, because I did them at 45s, they do need to be 2 foot at the farthest ends. Okay, that's 2 foot. So I know that that one is that. And my last one is 4 foot. So nothing special here. This is actually a bit of a better grade pine than what you probably would normally get. I like the pine because it's cheap, and at this point in time the wood was a lot less expensive when I got it. So we are going to go ahead and clamp this in. We know what our pieces are. Okay. Now, I'm not one of those guys who uses as much glue as he possibly can, but I also know that you have to use some glue when you're doing these things. So one of my problems is I got to make sure that my corners meet up right before I go ahead and nail them. Okay, now what I was planning on doing was to be able to come in, drill up some holes and things like that beforehand, but I don't have all my materials. And it's harder to get outside sometimes, especially when the winter's approaching. So I want to make sure that I can get this done now, get some of this harder stuff out of the way, and then hopefully at least glue those onto the side. Because once I'm done with that, all it is a matter of flipping these around and I could do the drilling, okay? So most importantly is to get this correct, right? So I've got a speed square to help me do my squares and my corners. I really do wish I would have gotten myself a corner because this doesn't quite sit straight. So there is going to be some holding that has to be done. Okay, so we're going to try a couple of things and see what I can do to hold my corners together. Okay, so let's see what I did. I don't have Jerry's workshop, so I don't have a whole lot of things. So let me show you what I have come up with. So I've got a clamp here and a 2x2, okay? And this is a true 2x2. It's made out of poplar. I used it for another project that I was doing before. So it is very, very square, and it's machine squared, okay, from the factory. So it's pretty close. And then I used one of the speed clamps, which is actually going to go to Nancy to help her put these things together when she gets together. And now I can see that I have a very, very small gap, and I can slightly adjust everything to kind of make that gap go away. And that's kind of the way that I'm going to work it. Now, the way that I'm doing this is actually going to be the top, so I'm trying to get the best spot, the best part up top, and the bottom I'm not as worried about, okay? So we're going to go ahead, unclamp part of this, get the glue on, and then we'll go ahead and start zapping. I'm probably going to zap in on both sides, just so that we get a nice firm stance there rather than sit there and try to have these all glued up. So yes, in hindsight, it would have been nicer to have a corner clamp. I have one probably in this garage, but I don't know where it's at. I may still go out and invest in one. But this is the way that we're going to work it for now. Okay, so let's go ahead and do the unclamp. I'll get some glue going here. Oh, this is a weird, different texture than I'm used to. So the nice thing is by putting it on with the nails too, once I get it in place and get it set to where I want it to be, I can go ahead and take it apart and we'll be all set and ready to go. Okay. Because basically we're just using the nails as clamps. Okay. Even though I am clamping this. Do want to move this a little bit. Good thing is it's a nice small gun, so let's see how this works. Okay. I figured I was going to get some bleed through on that. That's really nice. Down here, it doesn't quite fit the same way, but again, that's the bottom, so I'm not worried about it. Did have a lot more come out of the middle than I wanted to. Take our speed square real quick, and it's pretty damn straight. I got two different ones. This is kind of my cheap speed square. Yeah, this will be corrected out once we get everything in there. Now I'm doing this way, and then I'll come in and put the 1x2s in there. The 1x2s will be here, so there'll be a 1x2 from here up to here, so I get the measurement correctly. Okay, so I'm not going to bore you guys with what else I'm doing. I'll go ahead and do all of these, and then we'll come back. Okay, so there you have it. You got the first 4 done. We're going to let them go ahead and dry up a little bit. The sun's getting really hot out here. Yeah, I know, this is Washington. I'm going to clean up, and I'm going to have some dinner. And we'll come back to this when we can. All right, everybody. So it's day 2. We've got our setup back again, which is fun. And then we're going to show you down here. We got our blocks stacked up, and we're ready to go. So first thing I did, which I did off camera, which took me a little bit to do, first of all, was to set up all the wood that I have left. Okay, so I have enough for another 4x4 and the 2 1xs. Now that last 4x4 may turn into triangles. I haven't decided that one yet, so we'll figure that out. Okay, but the first thing I had to do was be able to cut a couple of 1xs out of this. So I need some 1 foot sizes, but I needed to make sure that I could get 2 of them out of 1. So there's the cut. The 45 goes this way, which means this 45's got to go that way, which gives me a nice little V, because this 45's got to go that way and that one's that way. So we're going to go ahead and go over to the chop saw, and we're going to go ahead and cut these. All right, so yesterday I told you about my neat little plan on putting these things together. Well, that kind of got extremely awkward, and I wound up just kind of more or less freehanding it, which turned out to be a lot easier. So we're going to go ahead and put these together. We're going to put a box together, and that will leave me a couple of these left over, I believe. A couple of 2-footers, which we will probably turn into the 1 foot square boxes or triangle boxes. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do my setup. I'll put you guys on time, and then we'll just go ahead and go through these. All right. Okay, so that was basically how I put those together. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this segment, and we're going to end it here, and we'll move on. There'll be some more parts coming. I want to thank you guys for watching. If there's any questions about what I'm doing, please put them in the comments below. Give this video a like, and ask other people to come look at it, and/or subscribe if you're not a subscriber. Anyway, this is Steve87 saying thanks for watching.